What is up, Mr. Rob? Mr. Rob, I'm so happy you're on this podcast right now. I feel like you are such a unique character in scootering. I feel like you are somebody that is involved definitely more behind the scenes, and you're honestly you're a really great friend to me and definitely a mentor in my life. And I feel like I wanted to introduce people to you because I feel like you do so many things in scootering that I feel like you don't get acknowledged for, and you do just a lot. You put a lot of your heart into scootering, and I feel like a lot of people think you're just like some business guy. So I wanted to start at the very beginning. I wanted to start and really hear the foundation of why you formed Hang 5 Gear and the whole story about how that all came together, because initially you're a hot tub guy and you got into the scooter world. Why is that the case? Tell me how that all fell together.
Well, Robbie, that's the simple word and the simple way to do it.
And who's Robbie?
Robbie's my son. He's my little baby. He's not a baby anymore, just turned 14, but it started when Andrea, my wife, would drop Robbie off at the skate park, and I was like, what are you doing? I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. I'm like, let's go play baseball, because he's playing baseball. I'm like, let's go throw the ball around. And it's like, he'd be like, ugh, God, I don't want to do this, Dad. I'm like, okay, cool, but you're going to do it anyway. So let's go throw the ball around. You want to get better, you got to practice at it. It doesn't matter whether it's scootering, baseball, football, I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
If it's a sport or anything like that in school, in order to improve, you got to practice. So, he would take him to the skate park, and then it's like, let's go. He's like, I'm not ready. I'm like, you've been here 6 hours, dude. What are you talking about? Let's get out of here, dude.
What skate park would he initially go to?
The outdoor Schneider. He was like a little intimidated at first.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, I'm like, come on, man. I grew up not in a bad area, but I was born in East LA. I'm like, Chandler, Arizona, man. There's no bad areas around here. Let's go.
Arizona,
come on,
yeah.
man. But he's only 9-10 years old, so he's a little intimidated at that time. But we take him to KTR. I go to KTR all the time, and I was like, let me go in here. I'm like, this place is pretty cool. And then so we got him into football, and he's like in football, and I literally bought him or got him signed up, put his helmet on, his pads. I literally have his pads ready to go. And we're on a trip, and he's like, I don't want to play football. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, man. I'm a big dude. That's what I do, man. This is like my son, man. This is football. This is it. Like,
don't you have a history in football? Like, that's what you grew up doing?
Yeah, I grew up, actually, my first sport was soccer, but other than that was racing BMX.
Yeah.
That not many people know about.
You raced BMX?
I did. As a kid, yeah.
Actually?
A mongoose with these moto mags that weighed, 100 pounds, and we got these Z-rims. You guys have no idea what the Z-rims are, but they were the lightest at that time, and you get the cool brake pads, so it wouldn't mark it up, so you get the blue, like I had blue, my brother has red, and we'd have blue and red brake pads, so we wouldn't get the black line around it, and we'd scrub it off with Comet and scrubbing off, on our bikes all cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, we raced at Monrovia, and Azusa was our local track, which is probably about 45 minutes from our house.
Dang.
And then Prado Park, we'd race that, and yeah, it was like 11, 12, 13 years old racing BMX.
That's sick. So you did that for a while, but then you initially got into football, right?
Oh yeah, football was definitely my thing, playing Pop Warner all the way up. Definitely football, baseball too as well.
So when your son tells you that he doesn't want to play football anymore and he wants to start scootering, what does that mean? How does that go in your head?
I was like, damn, scooter nerd? What are you talking about, man? Like, are you kidding me, dude?
A scooter?
Yeah, I was like, what the
You can cuss if you want to.
Like, what the fuck? My mind, I'm like, what the fuck, son? Come on, I love you, dude. A scooter, like, goofy little nerd. Get over here, man. Like, but then, you do everything for your kid, and you see him like, man, you really like this. So I was like, went to this little bike store. I'm like, give me the best scooter you have for him. And then we started talking more, and I'm like, you want to start a company? And he's like, yeah. So we started with a shirt. And before that, though, I met with my web guy that's I've been with for years. And my other company I had 20 years ago, and I'm like, let's meet up. So we met at Cold Beers and Cheeseburgers, a bar by our house.
Yeah.
Literally my wife, Andrea, Robbie, Neil, and myself. And he's grilling him, talking like a normal business person. Robbie's like 9-10 years old, telling him what he wants. And then he's like, well, draw some stuff out. We'll send it to our designer. So I wanted to start with a shirt, but also do something like with an acronym. So H5G, Hang 5 Gear,
Yeah.
Something that you can simplify stuff. So a lot of companies out there make it really easy where they kind of have two names, but make it easy. And we're lazy when we talk and speak and whatever. So if you don't want to say Hang 5 Gear, you can say H5G.
So tell me, like, the name of your brand is Hang 5 Gear. And like initially I feel like Hang 10 was initially like a surf trick, and then Hang 5 Gear was then like a BMX trick, and then Hang 5 Gear is then translated into scootering, and it became I would say it's maybe not as popular as it used to be, but for a big period of time, it was a really popular scooter trick that people would do. I know Vincent Kudrina made it very popular. Ryan Williams did Hang 5 Gears all the time in his web edit. Tyler Bonner made him very popular and cool. So what made you decide that Hang 5 Gear was going to be the name of your company? Like was it the way it sounded? Like tell me about it. I want to hear your thought process.
All right, before I forget, but you got also Joe Armstrong, you got White Trash Willie,
that's true. Okay.
Gnarly guys, and I'll still put out that money. I put money out for at Ollie Skatepark on a tour, like between Vincent and Joe, who can do the longest Hang 5. It's like $100. Might have drank a couple cocktails, might have been $200-300. But sober now, how about $300? You can do it the longest between you, Joe, and Vincent.
Shoot. I think honestly, Joe and Vincent might got me, but I'm a pretty competitive guy. I'm willing to throw my hat in there. I'm willing to see how it goes. I think you should do a Hang 5 Gear competition, knowing that your name of your brand is Hang 5 Gear. It sounds very suiting.
Oh, that'd be cool.
But tell me about like creating the name of it.
Okay, so Hang 10 was one of my favorite t-shirts of all time, and it was basically your basic shirt and two little footprints.
Okay.
And growing up in Southern California, I grew up about 45 minutes from the beach. We ditch school all the time, go to the beach, boogie board, surf, bodyboard, that's what we did. Mm-hmm. So I thought of that, and I also thought of a trick that everybody can do. And then when they're saying, hey, that guy's doing a Hang 5, you're also marketing our company, kind of, but not really. But subconsciously you're thinking like Hang 5. But the gear was Hang 5 Gear was because we were starting with a t-shirt. I'm like, let's make the scooter gear for the whole industry. Did
Mad Gear have any effect on that thought process?
I had no idea how Mad Gear was.
You had no idea who Mad Gear was.
Clue. Think about it. I'm a dad that's looking out for my little son, wanting him. He just told me he didn't want to play football anymore. So I'm like, damn it. So I'm like, I got to support my kids and my daughter, and I'll support what they want to do. Push them, if you're going to do it, let's do it. And like my dad, who just passed away, I'm still devastated by that. But he always told us, don't do stuff half-ass, and that's one thing I try not to do. It's like this, all gas, no brakes, let's go. And that's how it started from. It's like,
so it initially started from just a little idea in a bar with somebody grilling your son about ideas and just trying to formulate it. Tell me about the process of creating a brand and trying to source parts and trying to figure out the proper place to get scooter parts made. I mean, coming from somebody that like I don't know, I've dabbled into it a little bit, but I feel like when you initially got into the scootering world, you knew nothing. So what was that like, knowing nothing and trying to figure it all out?
I went from buying Robbie a scooter that I thought was cool by putting this little freaking chalk on the back, and you press the brake and you do your chalk lines. I'm like, that's the first scooter I bought at Walmart or whatever it was, or lights or whatever. They're little kids then, but that was when he was younger. But so when I went in there and to the bike store at that time, I was like, hey, get me the best stuff. And talking to the kids, I figure who knows best than the kid that can ride. God, I forgot that guy. He's a BMXer too. I got to link up with him, man, because he was a cool dude, man. Always treated me right. But Justin Durezzo, man, I got to give that guy monster props. So when they own the grind shop in Santan Mall, I would go in there, and I mean, you see my garage. Mm-hmm. I was like, all right, if I'm going to do this, I need to know everything I can. I bought every scooter possibly I could buy. Everyone. And then I'm like, okay, and then just to get to know about it, see which one the kids like. And I picked Justin's brain. I've been there for hours, 2 hours, and he was very generous with his time. And the Durezos, man, they mean a lot to me, man. Those are good people over there. And it was cool because he helped and guided me, like this brand and this brand. I'm like, all right, build me complete. Doesn't matter. Money doesn't matter. Just build me the sickest complete. And I have no idea. I have no idea social media. I have no Instagram. I had been on Facebook forever. I think I set up an Instagram, but didn't know anything about it. And then, so I'm like, oh, cool. This is an awesome scooter. I'll just take this, call my sources. I'm like, hey, build me this one. Make it better than this. And then I found out quickly that's not how it works.
So you basically put together a complete at the garage shop, took pictures of it, and was like, make me this.
Make me this.
I mean, it kind of makes sense in a way. It's like, I feel like your background is hot tubs.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's only so many shapes you can make a hot tub, you know? And it's like, I feel like there's not hot tub brands that are like, our shape is a circle. No one else can make a circle hot tub. And I feel like I can see how you could take that same knowledge, or that was your craft, you know, and then take that same and then apply it to scootering. I remember talking to you where there was these strange contraption decks you were initially getting. They were like Mad Gear head tubes with sacrifice decks, just like pieced together. And like, I remember explaining to you like, yo, like the necks of each of these decks define the brands. Like, they're not just these generic necks that brands intershare. And you were like, I remember that was like, you're like, whoa, really? And
by that time I knew Mad Gear was, and I was like an easy one, but I still didn't know sacrifice at that time. But it's funny. Like, hey, they're still up, man. You know, it's like, it's funny. I went to the grind shop. I saw the way they did it. I'm like, all right, I can do that in my garage.
Yeah.
I took all my samples, and you've seen, and the ones I bought, and hang them up. So the other day I was looking, I'm like, I hope that doesn't fall in my car.
You have like 30 scooters hanging on your wall, literally right above your brand new Corvette.
I have good insurance, but I'm like, my wife wants them out of there. We'll probably get them out of there eventually, but it's something to remind me. And I have in my office, which you've seen, you guys stayed with me for a few months, and it was awesome. And you see right above me one of the prototypes I had, and I just took a black marker on it and wrote this, and got with, Wyatt and Tristan, who's been, with me for a while, and my writer says like, hey, let's do this, and I'm like, this,
So who was like some of the first riders that you really started to work with when Hang 5 Gear first started happening?
So my first rider, obviously Robbie, and then little Cooper, who's the same age, and ironically, they're both playing football this year.
That's sick.
That's just full circle. It's crazy. Now he's not Robbie. You're not quitting scootering.
Yeah, you're not allowed to quit scootering now, Robbie.
No matter what. You'll be 50-year-old riding a scooter like me. Even if it's to get you to the store back.
True.
Or when I take your car away, when you turn 16, you're gonna have to.
He'll just take the golf cart.
Take that too.
But who was some of the first people you started working with?
So the first, it's funny. So we're at Schneidiger, and I thought, I'm like, this kid's good. But Andrew Collins actually was one of our first.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
I had him, and then the good riders, started coming. It was awesome. I love the Arizona riders. Love Wyatt and Tristan, our boys. And then CJ, the man, Harley, still killing it with us as well too. So I really believe in those guys coming up, and CJ and Harley, the next upcoming pros. I haven't, they got to earn it. With me, I work a little, like you said from the beginning, I'm different.
Yeah.
I really believe, when you want to go to that next level, you got to earn it.
Yeah.
That's a major comps with major competitions. We go some of the comps, and there's 5 people in the class, and 4 of them are Hang 5 Gear riders. And like, come on, love them, but I just want them to earn it. And just like, Jacob Blake, it's like when he came along, it was awesome. And Jordan Fisher, now we got, teamed up with Cam Ward and Pepito as well too.
Yeah.
But it was awesome with
also Mean Bean.
Oh, can't forget Mean Bean. The kindest Mean Bean. It should be Kind Bean, not Mean Bean. He's just a great human being.
Mean Bean is the most honest man I know. There's nobody who is more honest in this world than Mean Bean.
Yep. And then we got Sean. I mean, I love all our riders. Sean and Nick out there killing it at Woodward, and Chanel, Fly Girl. I mean, she's the next world champ. Sorry, Becca, Alex Madsen, which I'd love for her to ride for me, honestly. But Fly Girl, she ain't no joke, man. She's coming, man.
She's the only girl doing what is it?
Heel clicker finger
heel
whips.
clickers. Yeah, heel clicker finger whips.
Heel clicker tail whip. Heel clicker finger whip. It's like, let's see her do a decade next. I mean, who knows?
Heel clicker decade. What if she shows up Tristan? Just like that.
I think that'd be sick. Do it.
That's funny.
She's growing, getting stronger, and she's an athlete. So, I mean, I think you can put her on any sport and she'd do well. She's a phenomenal hockey player.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, she skates and she's phenomenal.
So tell me about the first scooter competition you went to, because I know that Robbie introduced scootering to you, but when was the first time you're like, all right, I'm gonna go out to a scooter contest and really see how this scene is?
So it was SD 10 or 11, I think. I forgot, but it was definitely a scooter con, and we got a booth out there, which was really cool, and that's when we really got to see people, and that's when I first saw you two guys. I was like, are these guys? You know, we pull up, let me see what Scooter Farm, let's see all this hype's about, you know, and I've been in retail. I've done some really, really cool showrooms with hot tubs. So retail space, and I know what, you know, the square footages and all that stuff and all the costs. So I'm thinking Scooter Farm's huge. I roll and I'm like, this thing's tiny, man. I'm like, wow, these guys have done a phenomenal job of marketing. And again, I'm still new. We had less than 1,000 followers on Instagram. I'm still learning Instagram and social media, all that other stuff. Other than the Facebook, I mean, just being real with my friends that I actually know and grew up with since we're little kids, and you know, we can really go at it with each other, which is funny. But you know, seeing the families grow up and the kids and stuff like that. But I was like, really, really, wow, this company has done a phenomenal job, because to me, as an apparent adult, I'm thinking this thing is huge. I'm going to go in like a Bass Pro Shop or something.
Of scooters. Yeah.
I didn't know. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. I mean, I went to the Grind Shop, which was probably the most, when I was at Santan, probably one of the nicest scooter shops I've ever seen. I mean, just the way it was dialed in, the pictures, the way the DeRezos did that, and the daughter did. She just did some cool stuff. And I was like, wow. So I was really amazed. And I was like, wow, this is a trip. And then I saw you and Clayton give Claudius a shirt. And I was like, who are these dudes, man? They're like, oh my God, look, and you're all excited. And I was like, and then I seen Claudius. I'm like, who the heck is that dude? Jumped in. I'm like, he's like American Water. I'm like, okay. And like, I have my big lifted truck. So they're all videoing my rims and tires. I'm like, it's like, I've never been to Germany, so I guess they don't have big trucks like that. And and in New Zealand either, when Scooter Brad was there. So I was just laughing. And I was like, seeing you get all excited, but I'll never forget. That's the first time I seen you two guys there at the
That's so
Scooter
funny.
Con.
You had a Hang 5 Gear booth. I think I remember it was like only shirts, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. You didn't have any sort of product.
No, I had shirts, and then it's prototypes that some of them came out, but never fully came out, because there was this one that was like, oh, those are Raptor bars, and you'll like this. So I get all the samples that would come in, and I'm like, oh, these kids won't know. So I literally sit down and spray paint them black, and then the kid would come in, that's a VS. I'm like, you little shit. I'm like, damn it, man, these kids like.
That's a Brandon James deck.
Yeah, Rob. I was like, who? What? They'd get like pissed off, and I'm like, whoa, easy, Tiger. Like, relax. It's not out yet. We're just playing around here. But it's funny, in the hot tub company, when I went back, is that this one company, Cal Spas, Casey Lloyd, awesome dude. You know, he actually funded my first company, and he was like, I was young. I was in my 20s. Like, I'll give you 150 grand right now if you leave your company. I'm like, why? I'm killing. I'm in my 20s. I got 2 houses. And I'm single. I'm like, I'm fine. He's like, no, you need to go on your own. And grateful that he pushed me, but it was crazy that he would do that. But he's also a crazy businessman where he splashed everybody's molds. I mean, he took every hot tub manufacturer out there and said, screw it, and splashed them. So I was like, holy.
What does that mean, to splash a mold?
Copy the shit out of him.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we had the Hot Springs, the Sundance, D1, Caldera, every brand, major brand out there, he just copied the crap out of them. So his whole line was huge. This catalog was monster, and it was like, oh man, just take a little bit of everything and create your own.
Yeah.
So, and he did now and kept his stuff, but that's how my mentality was. Like, I seen what he did, and it worked for a little bit. So totally different now. Totally different.
So basically, you saw the success, that the patterns he did, and you saw the success that he got, and you thought, like, I'm going to apply this to scootering. But like through then seeing scootering, you realize, like, that's not how it can go.
That's a no.
I feel that. So coming from the old Rob, I would say 5 years ago now, almost 6 years.
This August will be 4 years.
Okay, 4 years now. So Rob 4 years ago to Rob now, like, how do you feel about scootering now after learning so much? Because I feel like you've gone on so many tours with so many, like, you're the only person I know to take kids on tour and supply them with hotels or entries, everything. Who does that for kids? Like tell me like what scootering means to you now.
Well, as I progressed and, always trying to keep my son in mind too. And it's really hard now because you don't want to push him too hard.
Yeah.
Or push him away, because this is also a way for you guys and my son to express themselves and not get their progress impeded by their parent. Mm-hmm. And, Robbie's my son first, and business is second. And that's the way it should be. And I lose track of that sometimes. And it's difficult because it is a business. However, you have to turn a profit or break even or something to continue it to move to the next level. But I have so much passion. And I see so many different things and so much good out of scootering. And I've seen so much bad and negativity. I have more hate in the last 4 years collectively, more hate on me in 4 years than I have collectively my entire life.
Yeah.
So I was like, and then I realized like, oh, they're just kids popping off on Instagram and all that stuff. But there's some adults doing it too. And I'm like, whoa, come on, man, easy, Tiger. I'm doing my best out here, but I'm still learning. And I always used to say, I know more now than I did a year ago, but not as much as I'm going to know a year from now. So one thing is, every man has an ego. You want to be egotist, but I have more competitive and more, my fear of failing means more to me than anything else. I don't like to fail. I hate second place. I hate losing, but also at the same time, I just want to give it everything I have. I want to live on the table, It's like I really want to make things better. I want to be a better person. I want to be a better father, better husband, better leader, better to my employees, better to my staff. I really always want. There's always room for improvement. So I'm not one to I just want it to be better. So I kind of take the criticism now and then just apply it to being a better person, making better parts and being a better company and grow from there. But giving back to the sport, I think we all have an obligation. And you and Clayton, all these pros have done such a phenomenal job, and especially you lately, and Clayton, is that you have been trying to unite everybody the last 6 months that I've seen. Like I've never seen that before in the last 4 years. I mean, you've taken every rider, doesn't matter how they are, and you try to give them an opportunity and chance to shine and excel. And that's pretty cool, man. That's super cool, man. So good on you for that.
I feel like we can't win in scootering unless we're all collective, or like the peaks that we could potentially reach are higher for all of us if we all work together. 100%. I feel like the tough thing that happens, and I feel like this is just a natural thing that occurs, is basically everyone wants to be at the top. Everyone wants to be the pinnacle of some sort of success. And I feel like instead of one of us trying to be the pinnacle and pulling everyone along, we have to collectively realize that all of us together are the pinnacle and see how far that then reaches us. I think ultimately there'll be a couple that then from there succeed further, but I feel like that initial push will take everyone further than if we just started at zero. And I feel like that's the biggest goal right now in scootering is just being united and working together to expand it.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
So you've constantly been learning. I feel like the only thing you could ever do in life is just keep getting better at your craft. I feel like that's actually just the key to happiness, is just constantly challenging yourself and constantly putting yourself at lows because you're challenged, and then accomplishing those challenges and bringing you up to the high again. And I feel like that cycle is what happiness ultimately is. And so what's some further goals that you have for Hang 5 Gear? Like, what's something in the future, some accomplishments that you'd want to be able to say that you've done for scootering and for just Hang 5 Gear?
Well, one of the things I don't talk about much is like Christmas and stuff. For example, we've been very blessed and lucky enough to, when we have the skate park in the shop now, is to work with local media and stuff like that. And I've tried with other media outlets that haven't been so receptive on it, but I love Cowtown Skate Park Cowtown like gives all these skateboards away. I want to be able to give a ton of scooters away. I want to be able to help communities in other countries as well, not only here, but down in Mexico. Definitely. I mean, we're so close and there's so much poverty that's around us that we can make someone's life completely change. And who knows, have a world champ out of it as well from us giving somebody a scooter. So there's some cool programs overseas and hopefully, with scooters, hopefully getting in the Olympics and stuff. There's going to be a lot of opportunities out there in other countries as well to expand and help the sport grow. And one of the goals that I have is that we like when we did one comp in Lake Havasu, which was super cool, man, with the shop, and love Brian and Marlene over there, man. And I thought that was one of the coolest comps ever. Work with the city, try to make their pro purse as high as possible. And it's difficult to do because people entering in so late. If the pros would commit earlier, and I believe they have a responsibility as well too. It's like, hey man, with all the social media that you guys have, if we can, everyone hype this up, get the big guys out there, the little guys all come. The more people that enter, the bigger the pro purse is, and the bigger we can help those guys, the professional ones. But also bringing the whole community together, and also we were doing shows at my wife's school where she worked at before, and that was amazing to see. The little kindergartners would come out. They come out for 20 minutes for their recess, so we'd have like K through 6, and then you just see the energy in them. Just do a flip, and then go nuts. It doesn't matter, but it's just them and so many people not seeing what they can do on a scooter. It's just I love. And when I have my family out there, like in Chino, where I'm from, Southern California, I grew up in El Sonoma, a little bit, north of Chino. My dad used to come. I had my cousins come, and my good friend Jim Gallup, one of my best friends, man, and his wife, they'd come, and they'd be like, holy crap, you could do that on a scooter. And I was like, yes, how cool is that? So they've never seen it. So the good news about that is there's so many people, as you know it now, you do a tail whip or you do a flip on a scooter, like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know you can do that. So the good news about that is there's such a small amount of people that are doing it on scooters. If you think about it, the whole population, and there's so many people that have no idea what you can do on a scooter. It just shows how much growth that we have in scootering. Yeah. It doesn't matter what brand it is out there. I don't care. Maggear, I want to support all brands. And that's another cool thing about my goals too, is that one of the reasons when I had the grind shop and AZ Grind, we'll get to that in a second though, but it's that I support all the brands out there. I'd be a foolish man to say, oh, it would be great if I could just put Hang 5 all in the store and be like, and make a living off. That's impossible. In any brand, it could be Apex, it could be, Envy, whatever, Lucky. You can't just have one brand in there. Tilt. So having the ability to call the guys and start to build these relationships with all these different brands, like, hey man, I need some forks from this brand or whatever. It's pretty cool. Yeah. So, it's whatever the kid wants and they need, and then we try to guide them the best way we can. But it's cool helping all the brands come together. And I know that I'm going to be successful with my brand. We'll be fine. Yeah.
Do you hope to have a world champion Hang 5 gear rider?
Yes, man.
I've heard you bring that up a couple of times.
Absolutely. Come on, Tristan. You're next, buddy. Tristan, and Wyatt too. If he gets off his butt and he's been riding, man. They're one of my best riders. My favorite rider is my son, Robbie. But I love my guys, man. I love it. And there's some of the guys out there, I love their style too as well. But, I got to go with my guys, man. It's like Jordan Fisher. Don't sleep on him, man. Either. And Sean, Nick's killing it up at Woodward. You guys don't know about little Nick up there, man. He's crushing it. Sean's killing it down in Florida. Yeah. Jordan's coming off an injury. Pepito, Cam. Come on, man. We love Cam. Everyone loves Cam. But Tristan White. But here's my other guy, Juju. Juju's on fire.
Juju is on fire right now. He's been really in the spotlight recently, just with that best trick at the recent AZ Grind comp, but also like at the street jams. He's been slaying it with the whip bar off the roof of that place with his bars completely frowned. That was incredible.
Those were our prototype aluminum bars, by the way.
Were they?
Yes. And I'm like, hey, they're coming out, a new complete. I'm like, Juju. So he's working. I'm like, hey, you need a street complete. Like when you do these jams, man, come on, man. You need to go steal bars. And hey, but his Hang 5 gear forks and bars did last over that monster gap he did. And I was like, Banana the deck, though. Sorry, Andy, I do.
So I've noticed a lot of your riders are from Arizona, and I feel like what the cool thing about Hang 5 gear is it's mostly just centralized around Arizona. How do you feel about Arizona coming up so much in scootering right now? I feel like there's so many things happening with scootering in Arizona. I mean, we got Mad Gear now and based in Chandler. We have Northern Limited. We have Undialed. We have a great group of young riders. Like, how does it feel? Because I feel like you're one of the reasons that it's became so known here.
Wow. Well, thank you. I definitely want some more riders from around the world. I'm in Australia.
Yeah.
And I fortunate enough to go over pro scooters here. I've been in a lot of cool comps, man. I've been travel a lot of places that, through scooters. Now giving these kids opportunity. Like Cam came over with us as well too. Because he needed to lift Australia, and I get it. It was awesome. We love you, man, and still with us, so it's cool. And I love Cam. Cam, going through what he's going through and battling. A lot of people don't know. That's another story. But Cam is one of my heroes in scootering for what he's, physically going through and able to get out there and do on a scooter. But Arizona, man. I mean, I'm from California. I'm an LA boy living in Arizona, and I absolutely love Arizona. I can live anywhere in the country I wanted to. I almost moved to Texas and do a lot of work in Texas, but Arizona's just cool. And it's hot as hell, but we got pools and lakes and indoor skate parks.
What's the reason that you're here versus anywhere else in the country? Is there anything that stands out here that you don't find anywhere else?
Well, the cost of living at one time was low. Now, as you guys know, found out the hard way. It's a little difficult to buy a house.
It's pretty expensive here now.
Yeah. But when I first moved here in 97, I just thought people were nice. But I think also when you have a good attitude coming to a new place and you're so open, like, hey, how you doing? Like, hey, they said hi to me in the grocery store. I'm like, well, that's because you said hi.
Yeah.
Your attitude is refreshed. Like I knew 2 people when I moved out here in 97. Really? 2 people. That's it. And it's just crazy. I mean, and I was telling CJ a story about when I first moved out here where my beeper, 2-way pager at that time, fell off and my briefcase at the time fell over, and I pulled over on the side of the road and my door got hit twice, and my first paycheck was like $230. I'm like, I'm going to go home. This sucks. So my mom's like, no, you're not coming. You're not coming back. You're on your own. I was in the Navy. And anyway, so it turned out well. And but Arizona, you just have the mountains so beautiful. There's always somewhere you go different that's new, and it's gorgeous, man. I love it out here.
Heck yeah, I love it out here too. I feel like this has been the perfect little change from California. Obviously, it's kind of brutal right now in the heat. It's like over 100 degrees every single day, and that kind of cuts into riding. But the other 8 months out of the year where it's not summertime, beautiful. It's beautiful. It's so nice. I think it's the only place you can ride like theoretically year round, and not have to worry about snow or whatever. But speaking of Arizona, you've recently acquired a new purchase, and you've been putting a lot of work into that. And that new purchase is AZ Grind. And it's funny that you brought up the DeRezos earlier, because those are the people you got it from. Tell us a little bit, like, what's it like owning a indoor skate park now?
Well, when we're going through the process, I was like, I already have other businesses as well too. And, I travel. Pre-COVID, I traveled a lot, and I'm like, my old neighbor, my pastor, it would be like, dude, you gotta spend time at home more. I'm like, I gotta pay the bills too. So trying to not travel as much is pretty cool. And I'm like, I can make this work. I'm in the hot tub business. I'm like, I have to take down a portion of this park in the back corner and put hot tubs up there, because your margins are way better on a hot tub, an $8,000, $9,000, $10,000, $12,000, $13,000 hot tub than a $210 complete. It's in my other industry is like one day can make a week, 1 week can make a month, 1 month can make a year. It's tough for these shops, and I know these other shops go through around the country. It's difficult, man. You get behind, man. You got to have a monster week or month to catch up, man. And it is difficult to do with a product you're selling for $200. Mm-hmm. The margins might be there, but you got to sell a ton of them, and you got online retailers now. You have Amazon. By the way, Hang 5 is the only company that's not on Amazon. And that's something I'm very proud of. I might have to change that now too, because when I first got into this, I'm like, you got to take care of your dealers.
Yeah.
So with my, and I'm a dealer for hot tubs as well, is my buddy said he never sold it during COVID. Good for him. Young, retired, multimillionaire. Good for him. I feel like I helped get him there, me and my other buddies, to sell that many hot tubs in order to sell. But that's another thing. But the whole thing is that you got to take care of your dealers. And if you're on Amazon and all this stuff and you're undercutting your dealers, I want people rather go to my site, because I do have a site. I'd rather have them buy through one of our dealers.
Yeah.
So
that way your whole family, and family meaning your other people that you do hot tub work with. I feel that.
Everybody. So in Hang 5 Gear, we increase our price a little bit just so they can kind of go to the store and buy it. But it's great they buy us too. I mean, we get good deals with throwing shirts and stickers and all that fun stuff with them. But the whole thing is, in order for AZ Grind, the way I thought of it was like, all right, if sales are slow, because I didn't work in there a whole month or 2 months to see actually how many people are coming in, what's it's like, what's the AC bill. That's no joke. And then repairs and all this other stuff that's going on. So, I mean, I thought the hot tubs would be a good thing. We put it in the corner. We're going to actually build over it eventually, so no one can even see it.
So the square footage of the hot tubs won't even be taken.
Won't even be taken at all. And we've elevated it now. But I think my goal is to have the sickest skate park in the world. And that's my goal, and that's my dream. That's my passion. I want it. I wish I had more room, and that whole back was just a big window, but facing the other way, or facing north or east. Like facing west, now I'm just killed with sun. But I would love to roll those up in the wintertime, and now you have an outdoor park that flows into the indoor park.
That'd be so cool. Imagine just like a half indoor, half outdoor park that like flowed together nicely.
Absolutely.
That'd be so cool.
I'm looking for some land right now. Nothing guaranteed, but I do have my fillers out there to finally get into commercial real estate. It's been my dream of mine anyways for years. Would
you ever consider moving AZ Grind from that building?
100%.
Yeah. 100%. I know you've had a lot of problems with that building, just with like little logistics here and there, just because I remember I was talking to Jimmy, one of the ramp builders, and he was telling me that like the walls in there aren't parallel. Like the walls in there, like they're like all wavy and like, I don't know, there's structural weird things with that building.
I mean, you have tilt ups, and they're not going to be totally perfect. I mean, you can come off of it a little bit. Jimmy is a legend, by the way. Thank you, Jimmy. I mean, coming from Woodward and him coming out and redoing our park and putting a lot of funds into it. And like you said, you'll take an L now, but it'll make up for it. This guy. Will's the one who convinced me into redoing AZ Grind.
Yeah, well, okay. So I loved building and designing skate parks. I've never built a real skate park, but I love building little fingerboard skate parks, right? And I feel like what I've learned from skate parks, or building fingerboard parks and building and not building, but riding big skate parks. Like I started to think about like, all right, what's like the real things that make a good skate park different than a bad skate park? Because I felt like initially when I first started scootering or first started skateboarding, it was like if a skate park looks nice, then it's good. But the more and more that I've mastered my craft, I've realized that like, wow, I've been to some really aesthetically pleasing skate parks and they've been awful. I've been to some very aesthetically not pleasing skate parks and they've been great. But then also I've been to some very aesthetically pleasing skate parks that are also really awesome. And I've been to some non-aesthetically pleasing skate parks that are just really bad. They're just bad. And I started to think like what are the defining factors that make a skate park a skate park? Because when you really think about a skate park, it's just like 5 things. It's a bank, it's a quarter pipe, it's stairs, it's a rail, and then there's a ledge. I guess and then everything else in the skate park is just a combination of those 2 things. So if you have a quarter extension, it's just a quarter plus a bank. Like, and I started to think like, all right, so how can you use those five factors and create the most perfect skate park? Like, what does it come down to? And basically what that really comes down to is like, you need to understand your angles. You need to understand energy. You need to understand how energy flows. And it's crazy how a degree on a quarter pipe, what the degree is that that makes a 7-foot quarter pipe to a 6-foot quarter pipe to a 5-foot quarter pipe. Like each of those degrees are so critical and so important for keeping your momentum as you go up and as you go down. And when I was talking to you, Rob, and I was telling you, like, Rob, you need to get a professional ramp builder in the park, is I was thinking about those angles. And no offense to Tristan and Wyatt, because they were the ones who were previously building the stuff, is like I believe that they would have put their full passion into it. And I believe that they would have tried their absolute hardest. But those angles are something that takes so many years of trial and error to really understand. And I wanted you to bring in somebody who had already mastered those little details. So that way the kids inside AZ Grind could then have the best 8-foot quarter pipe in Arizona to practice their crazy overhead tricks. Something where they weren't worrying about imperfections in the ramp. They weren't worried, all right, so when I go up, I have to like avoid this like weird change. And like, no, I wanted the ramp to not be a factor in doing these tricks. I wanted the best possible executed ramps. Because here's the interesting thing about AZ Grind is AZ Grind previously, before you got it renovated, was kind of a building with specific features. It wasn't a skate park. It was a building with specific ramp features. And one of those ramp features was the Resi. And that Resi, I would say, is one of the most famous Resis in the entire world. There's Adrenaline Alleys, which I think is the most famous, and maybe Woodward's after that. But then I would say top 5 most famous Resis would definitely be AZ Grinds. And the reason behind that is because you have kids in there doing crazy tricks. I think Jacob DeReza was a big factor in making that Resi so famous. But the thing is all the local kids could do all of these amazing stunts, but they couldn't take those stunts and apply them to scooter competitions because they had no idea of flow. They had no idea of keeping speed. They just understood banger. That's all they know. I'm just going to do this banger. And now, and my whole vision was like, all right, so there's already these kids that are like pulling out these bangers. If we could get these kids to just apply those tricks to a situation where they would land with more speed than they started with and be able to take that to the next trick, very similar to how Cody Flom rides, where he does a trick, lands, and then can do a trick higher than we needed the Arizona kids to learn those. And I thought, like, all right, if these quarter pipes, if these things aren't just perfectly dialed, then it'll be hard to make it work in the small space that you have. So that was the whole reason I was like, Rob, you need to hit a Big White. So that way, and for all of you guys that don't know, Big White works at Woodward East, and it was actually the builder who built a big portion of Woodward East that came out to Arizona Grind Skate Park and basically built a Woodward Park at AZ Grind. So if you guys are curious what the ramps are like at AZ Grind, they're Woodward quality ramps built by a Woodward employee. So that's really unique. But yeah, no, that's why I told you to get a professional ramp builder.
It worked out good because, Jimmy, he's awesome, came out, and then he was helping, Wyatt and Tristan know how to build. It's just those little details of now, Wyatt, they can do it now too.
I feel like they could do it now that they've worked with Jimmy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I feel like Jimmy.
Wyatt's gonna have him start on the little mini map over there by the bathrooms. Yeah, I'm excited about that. That's gonna be my favorite because you got the quad skates, and one of the reasons why I looked at AZ Grind to be succeeding is like going back to scooters. It's like now I am building relationship with people in the quad skates, which are roller skates, roller blades, skateboarding, BMX, and also scooters. Yeah. So the cool thing is having those different relationships with the people. It's like before when I meet these skaters and different shops and talk to them, I would go, I have Hang 5 gear, and all of a sudden you're I like you. We're talking, hanging out, and all of a sudden I mentioned scooters, and all of a sudden I'm an asshole. Like, what's going on, man, with that? You got to kill that noise, And one of the biggest things is like one love, much love. I always say that's inside all our hats. It's a big thing for me is that, it should be like that in all action sports. And having these relationships with like Dougie coming in is huge, man. This guy's been at X Games 10 times. He's all about, he's a good Christian man. He's a good dude who cares about everybody and is willing to help. He'll take his shirt off his back for you. He'll give you his bike if he needs it. The guy's just an amazing person. So having him and people like them around is just another way for us to build scootering up, because he's down with scooters too. And to help grow that sport and to kill that hate that you see with the skaters and all the other stuff. So the cool thing is now inviting more of the skaters in and the rollerbladers, and those guys are awesome too. And then also the roller skates, man, quad skates are killing. Those girls come together more than I've seen any other sport. It's like the whole place will stop if someone drops in for the first time. They cheer them on. They encourage one another. It's super, super cool, man. And scootering has that as well too. So I like it. So having the park and these other action sports is really going to help scooters a lot, help us push even more.
So your goal is to basically have all of the sports be inside of AZ Grind. You want it to be the place where people are able to see eye to eye in somewhere, instead of being under the walls of social media.
Absolutely. So like I would love it to be AZ Grind Action Park. All wheels are welcome. I want to see Aaron from Nitro coming. He's a cool dude, man. Like his wife rocking that Hang 5 gear. He's just a genuine good dude too. So he'll be coming out here soon. And, I love that guy, man. It's pretty cool, seeing all the cool stuff he does and all from a chair, and then his wife riding a Hang 5 gear scooter. So having them ride in a wheelchair and a scooter together, that's just cool, man.
That is cool.
It's just super cool, man.
So you purchased AZ Grind like right before COVID happened, and then COVID struck. What was it like owning and operating a skate park during COVID? Because I feel like that was like the testing period for skate parks. If you made it through COVID, you're probably all right.
Man, it sucked. We had to close down. It was a good time because Doug was here. Excuse me, Dougie was in Kentucky going to New York or something. And I had met Doug through Spencer from XSN Global. Give those guys a shout out, man. And we met him at this Texas State Fair, and we'd talk. And I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I got to go to Kentucky." He's like, "No." I'm like, "Why don't you come out here?" He's like, "I'll fly you out here. You can stay with me for a little bit." 5 months later. But anyways, sorry, babe. My wife's like, I love you, Dougie, but So Doug came out here. I'm like, "Hey, come help us. We can use another hand." So it's like we built the other part of it, and Wyatt and Tristan was killing it, and then Tristan had to leave and get a real job. So it's like, "All right, Tristan, 4 o'clock comes early, dude." Like, so he's in the concrete business now.
Yeah.
Doing really well, man. So, I got to support all our riders and what they want to do. If they want to move on, and it was funny. He's like, "I got to talk to you." I was like, "Oh shit, he's leaving Hang 5." And he's like, "No." I was like, "All right, what's he gonna do?" He's like, "I got this new job. I can't work at the grind shop." Like, good, great. Where do you start? Like, it's like, oh.
You thought he was supposed to leave Hang 5?
I didn't know, man. That was nothing bad. It's just like, I got to talk to you. It's like, oh, let's talk to me, man. I'd rather have one to the head than 2 to the gut,
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh, that's fantastic. You're going to make some good money, real money, because I can only pay you so much here. It's not a high paying job though. These guys love what they do, and I try to treat them as good. And our staff there is phenomenal. I love these guys, man. So it was difficult during COVID because it was shut down. And then my landlord bamboozled me. It was like, "All right, we'll give you this." And then I ended up having to pay back everything. So it was like, okay, let's not pay rent for 2 months, but let's still pay it back in payments. I'm like, well, what good is that? I was like, I should have just paid the damn thing.
Yeah, you should have just paid it.
Just paid it, man. Yeah. But I was like, fine, well, I'll use this money to remodel the park. And then it's like, no, that's not what we talked about. That's why we get everything in writing, and still working with those guys. So they're fine. That's why I want to buy my own place. So I don't have to worry about damn landlord. I can do whatever I want. If I want to add something,
you can build a mega ramp.
Let's do it. Let's go.
That'd be tight. Now's the time to get land around there. I feel like
that's expensive too.
I feel like if there was would you call it something new? Like would you call it AZ Grind if you were to get a new place, or would you want to go like with a whole new? Because I know you just said Arizona like Action Park. But
I like the AZ Grind. I love that. We call AZ Grind. All wheels action sports, or something like that. But AZ Grind.
I feel like to really make it work, you kind of have to like like I've always envisioned like how KTR almost does it, where they have a trampoline park as well.
Oh yeah.
I feel like that's smart because it's always constant people coming in, and it's very like low. Like you don't have to really replace trampolines like you do necessarily like skate light, or like I feel like you can keep the same things up for a while, and overseeing it is fairly easy. I feel like kids don't get broke off in trampolines. Maybe they do though.
You actually get more broke off in a trampoline in than you do in the skate park. So statistically, you get hurt more on the trampolines than you do on the skate park, which is crazy to me. I thought it was completely opposite, knock on wood, but that's another scary thing too, is liability and stuff like that. When in a skate park, there's a lot of liability that goes into it.
Yeah.
And I pray every day that hopefully no one gets hurt. That's the biggest thing the biggest thing I have at our park, and why I'm really hard on our local riders, because I am, is that you have to have a safe and secure environment. And that's what I pride myself on. It needs to be safe and secure for their kids, because the parents drop their kids off. They're gone. Sometimes they don't even stop. They just tuck and roll, buddy. Go, here you go. It's crazy, and then we end up having to take care of the kids. And we have a lot of great kids. All the kids at our park are awesome, man. And, I'm trying to let up a little bit on them, but there's also rules too, just like anything else you do in life. You can't just wild out all the time and
absolutely
be a little asshole, It's like, dude, be kind and respectful to everybody. It's that simple,
I feel like the skate park's such an interesting space for kids, because it's one of the only places left for kids where they can organically push each other around real fear. Because I feel like a lot of the times, like with video games and stuff, it's like, I don't know, suppose a kid's getting teased, with this group of video game players. It's like that kid like can't bring himself back up by like doing something the rest of the group wouldn't do, or or they can't bond over fear. If suppose two kids like go through something scary, like they both learn how to drop into an 8-foot quarter pipe or something like that, it's like that could be a real bonding experience for those kids, because they were really scared, and then they were able to like both grow from that. Like I feel like the skate park is like the idea of danger and the idea of fear is like such a part of growing up as a kid, and I feel like the society these days does everything they can to just like get that out of kids. Like they want kids to just not be worried. They want kids to not be like in any sort of fear or danger or whatnot. But I feel like for a kid to grow up and be like a sufficient adult, it's like they have to understand fear. They have to understand like trials and tribulations. Like they have to. And I feel like the skate park is literally one of the last places where like a kid can go in there and like potentially hurt themselves. Try not to, but really test themselves physically, but more than physically, to really test themselves mentally. It's funny, like I always get asked like, what's the, like, you must get physically exhausted from scootering. You must like, it must be a physical toll. And I'm like, scootering is way more of a mental game than it is a physical game. Like it's really like, that's what it comes down to. It's like,
oh, I've seen you get pissed and not landing tricks. I was like, let him do it. Will's in the zone right now. Let's just let him do his thing right now.
It's such a mental chess game.
I love it. You're battling with yourself. I was like, all right.
It's one of the few things where you set your own goals. Like I feel like in other sports, like the team goal is to score a touchdown. The team goal is to get a goal. I feel like in scootering, it's like you choose the trick and you choose how you're going to do it. And it's like, who's ultimately going to win from this? You are. So it's like, it's so like tailored. It's so much an art than I feel like a lot of things.
These guys kill it, man. And even some of our other riders, so we have like Noah's crushing it. I haven't seen him in a while. Other stuff come on. COVID's really like, COVID's just really just thrashed a lot of these kids, which sucks. So, but Noah and Ethan and Caden, watch out for that little shredder. Jesus. But I love it when the California kids come out here, man. It's like, that's hot. It's like, yeah, it is. So these Arizona kids are tough, man. And like you said, like the fear that these guys are going, I mean, there's some gnarly riders here in Arizona.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Seth, I know you're listening to this.
Hit me up, buddy. I hit you up, man. It's like these guys are going to want it. I don't want to go after someone who's like try to put a square peg in a round hole. It doesn't work that way. You got to really, really want to come.
Absolutely.
For that company, whatever it is,
So tell me about this last contest that just happened at Daisy Grind. That contest was amazing. And how does it feel to like be holding a contest at your skate park after COVID is finally relinquished at your new park too?
Oh man, I was really happy. Like the end of the night, I was really happy. But we had so much going on. No one noticed that we were redoing the park, like building almost a new park, pretty much.
Yeah.
Trying to make that deadline.
And also, so the audience knows, you rebuilt an entire park and never closed once.
Nope. And we did, and that's Jimmy and Wyatt and these guys. You know, my staff, even Bader is not with. He's still with Hang Five. I love you, Ryan. You know, that's what was very important to me to compliment them. Know is that Maddie, Ryan, CJ. You know, Wyatt and Tristan too, when is working and coming to help, and even you guys, were in there helping out, and other people as well. But the guys that are actually employed working there, and then also Carson, and then Mike's and new one of our employees too is an awesome kid as well. But like those guys busted their ass to get that thing done, and no one saw what they were doing. But yeah. I mean, we wanted to kill each other too a couple times. I mean, CJ, I love you, man, but him and I got into it a few times, and Wyatt, but we all love each other, man. They know I love them, got their back, and my son was helping my wife, and you painting and all that. It was just a true team effort to come together. No one saw other than the riders. Like, when's it gonna be done? Are you almost done? Like, it's like, easy, buddy. Like, we're in the kitchen cooking right now. We're not done yet. It's gonna be done. So it was very stressful trying to get it done before that day. But also I learned a lot because I did it all by myself with the prize purse calling. I mean, there's lots of things. We did a good comp. It was great. It could have been better too. So there's lots of different things, and the next one's even going to be better, man. I have the better prizes. I love the trophies. Huge fan of going 1 through 5. These kids needed something to get in there. We get these sponsors. They give a deck here and there. It's like they've already sponsored rider. Here's a deck. They're selling it or giving it away. But you go home with that trophy. Even Chris and Cody got those big old trophies.
Yeah, so the audience knows, like, you put so much effort into the trophies. Like, the trophies that these kids win for first place in a beginner AM comp it's like it's a full chalice, and with everything on it, with a scooter on it and everything. Like, it's just remarkable.
And I don't know if you know who's on top there. Is Tristan doing his tuck no hander.
Yeah.
It's a silhouette, like Jerry West is a silhouette of the NBA. Tristan, is the top of the trophies that we've had. Now, Havasu, Chino here, and then also the Vert comp that we were behind was one of the sponsors of that Vert comp in where Raymond won. Yeah. And I think I brought three big trophies for that. So I got a good guy in Tucson, man. Jason, who's the man, dude. His son loves Hang Five too, man. It's cool.
That's sick. What's your future of comps in AZ Grind? What's your goal of competitions in AZ Grind?
Well, hopefully everyone unites, which would be great, so we can start, really putting together a comps series where everyone knows, so we're not doing ride days on the same day or comps like. So in August sometime, Hang 5 will be 4 years, so we're going to do a huge free ride day at Easy Grind with Hang 5 Gear, putting that on. And it's going to be huge. It's going to be the biggest one. I want a ton of rides. It's free. I mean, I've opened up the park several times for free, 3-4 hours, and I think that's super cool. It's a good chance for us to give back to the community, still grow our brand, Hang 5, and the park and the grind shop as well, too, so it helps every brand out there. But I want to do a legitimate comp like Action Space did such a cool thing over there. But I also want to do it for the younger kids too, man. We got to get these younger kids in there. We got to get that, we do lessons at Easy Grind. Doing these shows at school are huge because you get those young people into scootering and into the shops and into the stores or into the skate parks riding. So I want to do another one. And I want a women's division. I want a true, legitimate 20, 30 riders in a women's division, girls and women. So you have basically the AM and pros in there. Yeah. I mean, you can have the beginner girls, it is what it is. At least they're getting in there. They're competing with other girls, and then you have the pro division as well, too. So we need more girls in the sport.
Could you ever see Worlds happening in Arizona?
Heck yeah, man. I see it all the time. So you had the Phoenix Rising was, and they took down the stadium, but the actual park is there. So I was like, heck yeah, man, let's do an outdoor stadium here in November or December and make it happen. Or come to Easy Grind. All right, I'll post some more. I'll make it happen. Let's go. What do I need to do? I'll change those ramps around. And that's another thing too, is that I'm a veteran. I'm proud. I was in the Navy for 4 years, served this country, was in the war over there, and Operation, Operation Southern Watch, but not getting into that. But the cool thing is, like I always tell people or try to, is like, we're a veteran owned and operated company, but a rider designed company.
Yeah.
So Wyatt and Tristan have, and now CJ came to me too the other day. It's like, hey man, you need to listen to young riders. I'm like, absolutely. What should we do? He's like, I like this and this. I'm like, okay. Let's see what I can do. Let's get a couple samples and let's try it out. So I really take input from you guys as well too, with the sick shirts and all the other cool stuff that you put out, man. I appreciate it. Man.
Yeah, you always do really listen to the riders on a lot of things, and I feel like that's really good. I feel like initially at first with Hang 5 gear, you were a little bit more resistant. You were kind of you had a little bit of an ego. You're like, oh, this will be fine. But I feel like more and more, I feel like all of the parts, like especially like the ones that Wyatt designed, the Hova deck, like everything is. I think everything is pretty much. Doesn't Wyatt design everything?
He does a lot, and Tristan too. I mean, Tristan did the Bandit. He did the head tube for the Bandit and that, and we had awesome Will doing the design on it. This dude knows what people want. It's like the little Pied Piper. I don't understand it. Like, designs it. The kids absolutely freaking love it. It's badass.
It's just a complex series of patterns.
It's the right brain.
Not the left. So recently we've been hearing some news about scooters potentially entering the Olympics. How does that make you feel?
Oh, it's great. It's great for the sport. It's great for the future. It's great for you guys. I can see you guys being up there being announcers and being, people coming to you, seeing what they can do to help it. And yeah, I mean, that's great. I mean, I wish everything would unite more with ISA and World Skate and Extreme Barcelona. But, in September, they're taking, from what I understand, the World Roller Game rankings from 2019 over there. So Clayton will be on that list. And my guy Tristan, Cam, and Juju were there, which was great. Wyatt broke his leg right at North American Finals that year, and he was definitely going to go because he went to the Worlds before. And, injuries tough on everyone. But it's going to be, it's interesting how it's going, because you got all these young new riders that are killing it right now that unfortunately probably aren't going to get the opportunity this year. So they just have to relax, and their time will come and continue to keep riding. But there's going to be some, what I understand, other areas to give them opportunities to get in there as well too. So hopefully it's just an opportunity for everybody to get into that World Skate Championship.
Yeah.
And then hopefully ISA, we find out what's going on there. And I mean, COVID's still sneaking up on some parts of the country too. So I mean, we're lucky. We're not like California. We're able to be open earlier and sooner than California was. California's open now, but COVID really hurt a lot when it comes to that, unfortunately. So we just got to roll with it and all of us be as positive as we can, all work together. And I really believe that we can get to the Olympics for sure.
Absolutely. I feel like there's a whole up and coming generation of scooter riders that have been perfecting their craft during COVID that we don't even really know about.
Oh yeah.
That are gonna, unfortunately, I don't think it's really gonna happen this year, but I think in the next couple worlds we're gonna see a whole bunch of new faces.
Yeah, I mean, and Woodward's still going on too. I mean, Ernie's killing over there in Woodward East as well too. Still our, he's still our homie, man. He's still our boy, man. Just so you know, I got a big shout out to Ernie over there, man. And he's always looking out. He's still a Hang 5 Gear family member, man. He's our old TM, so I love that guy, man. So he's helped us a lot as well too. And Hang 5 is at all the Woodwards. So it's pretty cool.
Isn't it the premier scooter at Woodward? Like, isn't that what the complete scooter they have there?
Yeah, they have that. Well, the multi-sports program, from what I understand. So we have all our X5s and Hive X's in there too. So it's pretty cool.
That's sick.
And then the kids will call us and the parents will order that one because that's the scooter, their first scooter, the real scooter they've been on. So we're pretty proud of that and definitely want to grow from that as well too. But man, if we all work together, man, we can blow the sport up even bigger. It's already blown up. And like you said, there's so many riders right now that no one knows about are crushing it. Mm-hmm. Crushing it.
How have you felt about the street jams been going on? I feel like they really, really came to the surface during COVID when other comps weren't really allowed, I feel like street jams prevailed. Well, from somebody that is, I guess I wouldn't really necessarily call you a rider, but you're definitely a scooter enthusiast. How is it from a spectating perspective? How do you like watching the street jams?
I think it's crazy, man. I think these guys are nuts. I'm more worried about them getting hurt. Wear a damn helmet. Sorry, I mean, it's like, I get it, man. But also, hey, I'm a father. A lot of these kids aren't, and I still look out for them. It's like, come on, Juju, love you, bro. Put your damn helmet on. You still look cool. You don't look cool eating a hamburger out of a straw. Trust me, man. It's, S1's been saving heads forever, man. And it's, that's the only thing that really worries me at these street jams, because these kids are getting gnarly. They get amped up. They get psyched and hyped, and they throw down. I mean, Juju is nuts. I mean, crazy Juju for a reason, doing stuff that you shouldn't be doing on a scooter. Scooters, they weren't meant to be like that. And so I think it's awesome, though. I think it's crazy. I think we got to do more of them, get more organized on those as well, too. I mean, let's work with the local community and stuff. I understand, the street spots and stuff like that, but there's ways that, I might know a few people that we can. How cool would it be to be having a police escort down Central in Phoenix?
That'd be tight.
Whoop, whoop. Literally.
Just making sure all the kids are okay.
Yeah, let them do their thing within reasons. But, but how about cruising down 500 scooter kids cruising down Central with a police escort,
That'd be sick.
It can happen.
I feel like two things need to happen with street jams. And this would be, I feel like, ideal circumstance. I feel like, one, there would need to be a way for all the street jams to be like coordinated in a way. So that way, if somebody wanted to go on a little road trip and go to like 4 or 5 street jams, they would all geographically kind of be happening in the same space. And I feel like, for example, if there was one in Chicago one weekend, and then then a couple days after that, there was one in Wyoming. And then a couple days after that, there was one in Salt Lake. And then a couple days after that, there was one in Boise. It's just so that way somebody could then take off 2 weeks of work, but hit 5 street jams, and I feel like it would be cool because you would see a lot of the same faces carpooling together, going with each other. And it'd be a way for a lot of people to meet a lot of people. And I think that'd be really awesome. The other thing that I want to see with street jams as well is if they can really coordinate themselves with scooter competitions. Mm-hmm. So if a street jam could happen on a Saturday and the contest happens on a Sunday, I feel like that would be really awesome. Or even a little event at the skate park to get people, like a street event at the skate park, and then street jam the next day, and then the park comp. I feel like that would be really cool, just because it would allow people who do work normal jobs to then go to several scooter events and over the course of one break. Because that's the only sort of coordination that I see failing. Is I watch these brands send the riders out to just one street jam, and it's just like, imagine if they could go to 6, and be with their group. I think that would be the most ideal thing. Yeah,
and getting out there, like Alex hit me up, Bloom, for the street jam coming on in
Seattle,
yeah. So I'm like, all right, cool, I'll get in that. I'll help out with that as well too. But another cool thing is just everyone getting on the same page too, and getting these riders out there. So Burrito's cool, as Daniel hit me up, it's like, hey man, I'll do this content for you if you get, Tristan. I'm like, sweet, perfect. It's a win-win for both of us. So thinking for those good relationships where a rider's also sponsored by multiple sponsors, is having each sponsor kick in a little bit for that rider, and we can get them out there, man. That's what's really cool. Like, use this example, like Andy from AO, he's like, I love this guy. I'm like, I love you too, man. It's like, it's cool because we work together, because Wyatt and Juju are still sponsored by AO, and Tristan was there too. So, I'd make them a shirt and represent their local shop, Solofo, AO, and Hank 5. But the cool thing is that we're able to split cost as far as getting out there. So as far as lodging goes, food, and then also airfare. So working together with other people makes it easier for us to get more riders out there. Yeah. So like, we're going to get Tristan out there for the Chicago Street Jam, which is super cool. And that's in a couple weeks. So I wish I knew more ahead of time so I can prepare, because the further advanced we can get more riders out there. Or, even do a tour, another tour. Hey, take my bus. Boom, go ahead. Here's 15 of you guys, 20 of you guys. Go out there, do your thing, Do
you think we're going to do any more bus tours coming soon?
Yes, but I won't be driving.
Who's driving?
You.
No, you're driving.
Heck no, man. I'm one and done on that one. That was brutal.
That was brutal. You literally remember we brought, what was his name? Dean or something? We literally brought him along to drive, and you told him, you're like, all right, you can't drive anymore. No, you're not allowed to.
I was gonna die. I was gonna try to go sleep in the back bed for just an hour, and he was driving like hell in Keller. I'm like, dude, no, we're
driving like hell in Keller.
I'm like, done, dude, man. He's like Pac-Man eating dots on one side and hitting the rail on the other side. It was horrible. Horrible.
I remember just the whole time on that tour, you're just like, just trying to control that.
We were driving that thing, and I got a 97 South one. It's not like some new thing. We looked at getting a new one, and I'm like, nah, we're good, man.
That was such a unique trip, going all the way out to those ISA comps.
That was cool though. One and done, man. Ollie's was a gnarly skate park. We roll up, it literally starts snowing. We roll in there, and
it did start snowing. What the heck? I remember that now.
It starts snowing. The owner has beer and all this other stuff for us. We're drinking, and whatever time we got in there, and that skate park was open from Friday and then closed till Sunday night.
Isn't that the most? Okay, being a skate park owner, how do you feel about opening Friday and closing Sunday?
Hell no.
Two lock-ins a week, every week?
In Mesa or at Gilbert, Arizona? No. I mean, that is insane. That park was just ginormous. We had, the old riders sleeping under. I sent the guys, I'm like, here you go. Here's excess amount of dollars. Go buy yourself a pillow, blanket, and an air mattress. And our guys were all underneath. You guys were where you had beds. Our guys were underneath the vert ramp. So they'd wake up in the morning for some Zach Newman doing some crazy stuff on his bike, waking the guys up on the vert ramp. I was in my RV chilling. So I was like, I'm cool here to get away from these guys.
And then the RV almost caught on fire.
Oh, that's crazy.
Do you remember how much of that skate park wasn't being used at all?
The whole back was just huge.
Do you need to get a facility like that size for AZ Ride? Could you imagine?
Dude, that was like
an aircraft hangar.
Oh my God, that was just like a huge industrial area where you'd have semis, tons of doors backing up for it. I mean, it's a lot of money, man.
That is a lot of money.
AC in that place. Sheesh.
Oh, could you imagine in Arizona? That's a $20,000 bill a month at least.
Yeah, it costs you guys $100 a day to ride there, man. I mean, it's crazy. Jeez.
That's so funny. Ollie's was such a unique skate park. Out of all the skate parks I've been to in the world, that one had no rules.
None.
There was one employee who was sometimes there.
Oh, he's a cool dude, man. What was his name?
I forget.
Kid, dark hair. What was his name? He was cool. I remember Sunday night he's peeing on the ramp. I'm like, dude, what are you doing, man? The bathroom's right there. He's just peeing on the ramp on the floor. Just like, oh man, this was crazy.
He told me, I was talking to him, and he told me that there was one time and a rave that just happened.
Yeah.
Like there was like somebody that planned a rave there, and everyone just showed up, and there just had to be a rave. So he had to like single-handedly like shut down the rave from Ollie's skate park.
They had bands. Little Dicky would go perform there.
Really?
Yeah.
How great of a... now that I'm thinking about it, there is one skate park in Finland that's half skate park, half music venue, where like during the music venue, you could like stand on top of the ramps. It's actually where Finn Scooter is based out of, which is hilarious. But that would be a very unique idea. Like instead of being a half trampoline, half skate park, what if you were a half amphitheater, half skate park?
Let's do it. Let's get Juju and CJ and every other scooter rider that wants to rap or thinks they can rap. I mean, those guys can, but in there and do their thing, man. So we'll do on Friday, we'll do the street comp. Saturday, the actual park comp, and then Sunday the street jam, and then Friday night after the it's
a concert.
Yeah,
done.
Saturday after the concert. Yeah. Let's do it easy.
That's funny. All right, Rob, I have a serious question for you.
Okay.
So you live in Arizona now, but previously you used to live in LA.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about the Suns beating not just one LA team, but two LA basketball teams?
There's only one LA team, by the way. It's the Lakers.
You don't like the Clippers?
Who? Is there in LA? What? Get out of here.
I don't know. They lasted longer than the Lakers.
Ironically, ouch. Yeah. AD was hurt, man. Come on. So ironically, though, the Suns are my second favorite basketball team, and I'm going to game 1 and 2 of the finals. I was just at game 5. I lost a bet to Ernie, so I'm actually taking Ernie to game 1 of the NBA finals. First finals I've ever been to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I got 2 other tickets for sale too.
Well, you know,
they ain't cheap.
I'm a nice guy.
You're not that nice. You're nice. You're nice.
I'm a cute guy.
I bought some extra tickets. I'm gonna make some money on that. I'm like a scalper right now.
Are they good tickets? You got like a box?
No, there's 6 rows from the floor. They're good.
Damn, really?
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap, that's good tickets.
They're good tickets.
So who do you think is going to be, Suns and Hawks or Suns and Bucks?
Well, they're playing right now, man. I don't know. Tell me. I just want to get it done because I'm going to San Diego for ESCO comp. So I don't know when this is going to come out, but if it's out before ESCO, go register for this Escondido comp. Help Tim over there, man. And Coney Hawk from, I don't know if you guys know who Coney Hawk is.
Who's Coney Hawk?
That's Tim runs that Instagram or not? No, TikTok. Coney Hawk.
Oh yeah, Coney Hawk. Yeah. Tim. Okay, Tim is such a special
He's
person.
The man. I love him.
We like, I gotta have him on the podcast sometime.
Yes.
It would be so funny to talk to Tim because Tim he's a scooter kid, but he's not a kid, and he doesn't even scooter. He does have an X5 hang 5 years. Okay, he does have a scooter, but he's a scooter enthusiast that has had a job at Escondido Skatepark. I don't even think, Clayton, when you were working at Esco Park and you were working with Tim, when Tim first initially started working there, was he into skate parks at all, or is this like a developed thing over the course of just working there?
Tim really started doing social media around, I started working there in like 2015.
Yeah.
2014.
That was your local, right?
2015. Yeah, like I was in Escondido and started working there in Claremont Skate Park. But I think in like 2016 is when Tim really started jumping in and doing social media.
Yeah. And since that time, Tim has literally just completely taken over the Escondido Sports Center Instagram. And then from there started a TikTok, and then from there started this thing called Coney Hawk.
Well, from what I understand, he got furloughed, so it couldn't work. So they couldn't do the Instagram during COVID. So that's when he did the TikTok.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So he wasn't allowed to even run the ESCO page during COVID because they were not open.
Yeah.
Dang. Yeah. So then Coney Hawk came out, and Coney Hawk is literally a cone, like an orange cone.
He's not. When I thought it was a cone, I was thinking like a regular cone. It's the goofy, skinny, tall cone.
It's the
it's like
highway
a traffic
cones.
Bob's barricade cone.
And he just sets that on his skateboard and just like rolls that down ramps and just like, it's Coney Hawk.
Good for that guy's the man, dude. I love it.
Coney 2012.
There you go.
Or he could be Coney 2021.
I love it.
Oh man.
And that's another cool thing is about like the skate park and stuff like that is working with other people. Like Tim and I talk all the time. So whenever he's like, hey, what dates are these going down? Is this going down? Like, and we try to help each other out as much as we can. And in fact, I tried getting him out for the comp. It's like, here's the deal, dude. I'm gonna fly you out and pay you. Because I was like, I've never done this before. And the cool thing is that it's so much help from my wife and Donna and Arian and even Reverend Chat's mom jumped in there for a minute. The cool thing was like whatever kid was like even on the scores was going, they stepped out at that time just to like because the judges like completely separate. And it was cool having Justin or Jacob Durezzo back and doing it, and then Aaron Anchi and also Ernie. So that was pretty cool.
That is cool.
Keep Ernie and you off the mic after a comp.
Hey, that was completely my bad. Actually, no, that was completely Ernie's bad. But I was definitely the instigator in that circumstance. I gave the mic to CJ. I got CJ hyped. He put on a performance. It was good. And I think Ernie wanted to show CJ what was up, and that went downhill. Oh, man. Love
downhill like you and Clayton on the grass hill. Yeah. Do not.
And literally the day before.
Yeah, definitely don't let Will near a microphone after an injury.
No.
Who knows? I might be injured right now.
Or both you guys going down that damn grass hill. Wreck both you guys.
That was
concussed and broken collarbone.
I remember we were in the car. He was driving. I was in the passenger seat. We pulled up to you, and you're like, "Where are you guys going?" And we're like, "Oh, to the hospital." And you're like, "Why?" And Clayton's like, "I got a concussion, and Will broke his collarbone."
Oh, you were a wreck. You were hurting, dude. I felt bad. You're like, "Bro," I was like, "Oh, you're in pain."
Yeah, that hurt. That hurt so bad.
You were. That was. I haven't seen you that hurt before. That was bad. I was like, "Ugh."
Yeah, that was. The pain was so intense. It was hot. That's like the only way I could describe it. It's like burning. It was like, ugh.
You guys are gnarly. And then he crashed in the comp too, or in practice or whatever, and smacked his head again.
Yep.
Jeez, crazy.
So what's the plans for the next Havasu Cop? When's that going down?
Let's start with the next AZ Grind comp, and then we'll go to Havasu.
Well, I want to hear about the Havasu one because
Havasu's going to definitely go spring break for sure. So
because the Havasu flat comp.
Ooh, that flat scoot battle. Hey, I was in Havasu this week, and I put it on our story real quick, but
So I bring it up.
let's do it. Let's do it now. Let's do it here in AZ Grind now. Let's make it happen.
Because you have that flat area.
Let's do it. I call it the basketball court. I want to put a volcano in that area or something cool.
Absolutely.
I think a cool volcano right there would be sick.
Yeah.
A real volcano. You can have fire coming out of here.
So you've been talking about the flat scoot battle for a while, and Mad Gear was the ones that initially started it. It was actually funny on the last podcast we did with Daniel. We were talking about it, where basically Mad Gear arranged this whole competition to like have one of their riders win the whole thing, but it ended up like Tommy Cristiano would always win it, or somebody else would, and they kind of just stopped. But I think it was such a unique, cool piece to scootering, and I think you trying to bring it back is something that's important.
I really tried with those guys. It was a PNW. These guys were gnarly. There's a bunch of East Coast riders that are crushing it. North, Skip Mackey, and even who was the other? There's some cool riders that I've never met in person. I just seen them, and we had it all lined up. You built the whole bracket and everything was ready to go, and then COVID came, and it was just like one thing after another, and it's like, okay, Cody Fawn was like, hey, just do it after the Havasu comp. And literally like 5 days before Havasu, I'd go on my big whiteboard where I had in my office, all the kids would be like, Rob, save Havasu. I'm like, dude, this is COVID, this is a big deal. I'm doing my best. And thank God we did shut it down, because we would have got there and then we couldn't
have done anything.
Nothing. Would have been shut down. So let's do it, man. Let's go. I want to invite those same riders here. If somehow we can maybe put something in their pool or something like that to get those guys all out here. That would be phenomenal.
Absolutely. Something else I've heard you talk about in the past is a dirt scooter league. Tell me about that.
All right. So in scootering, I love it. I love the competition. I love all of it, but it's subjective. So whenever you have judges in there, it's going to be subjective. Mm-hmm. When you race, it's the first one that touches that line. It's over. There's no judges. I mean, you got to have rules. And I was talking with USA BMX, and they were talking about rules. Like, hey, one rule they had to make is like, you have to finish a race on your bike. So one of the races, they said that there was a pile up and they all fell, and there was like 3 sponsor riders with identical bikes. Well, one grabbed another's bike, finished the race on someone else's bike. Well, they're like, well, what do we do with that? So anyways, yeah, I have an Instagram, Dirt Scooter League, and I was like, this would be cool. I'm going to make some dirt scooters out here. You guys love it. And
can you scoot your mic a little bit? I'm sorry.
Everybody who rides a dirt scooter has fun. A blast. I see the smile on their face. They're laughing their asses off. They're having an absolute blast. So I was like, why not start a dirt scooter?
Is that lever broken?
I don't know.
I know he just loosened it earlier. Here, I got it. I got you, Rob.
Is that one better?
Okay.
Better. So I'm like, let's do this, man. So my dream skate park is to have an area big enough where we can actually have racing for BMX, freestyle dirt BMX, a monster vert ramp, a true legitimate one, but also a dirt scooter park where we can go 2 or 4 at a time.
That'd be sick.
And I think it would be so fun. And then you can also do best trick on the dirt ramps as well too, like a BMX. There's so many different variables, but the biggest thing I've seen from everyone is so much fun they have Well, they're on dirt scooters.
I feel like a dirt scooter is the ultimate, like a scooter. I feel like anyone can pretty much ride a scooter. It's like a dirt scooter is like anyone can ride it, but you can also go off on grass. You can go anywhere with it.
Crazy. I mean, Vincent had his when when they were staying with us and when they were redoing the park, and he broke out that thing. I mean, he can flare and do everything on a damn.
He's just as good on that thing as he is on his normal scooter.
It's crazy. He's just, dude. I was doing everything I could to go with him to compete. Oh. But he's like maybe next time. Like I think he might, but I was pushing maybe a little too hard. Sorry, Vincent. We love you, buddy, man. But compete, darn it, that would have been cool.
Vincent's so funny because he's the rider's, like the rider's favorite rider. Yeah. It's like I feel like maybe not a lot of kids know him like they like. At least I knew him, but like I feel like modern kids don't really know him too much. But it's like all the riders know that he's the best one in here. Like no one can touch him.
Yeah, the stuff he does is insane. I love it. I was getting so many clips. AZ guns like.
So you said you want a subjective winner in scootering with the dirt scooter stuff.
Well, I'm saying that it's not subjective. It's
not subjective.
Yeah. So it's like, like the judging and stuff like that. And I stay out of the judging because I would be the worst judge ever. And I'd be like, oh, like I would just be a horrible judge. But in dirt scootering, it's just a race, man. It's like. Within rules of it, but it's whoever finishes, man. If you're not first, you're last. I think it would be gnarly. I think you'd see some cool stuff. I think you'd see so much different progression, and you're gonna have older riders do it too. You'll be able to ride a dirt scooter a lot longer. I mean, you can get wrecked just as bad, but
yeah,
I think you can ride a little bit longer or a lot longer on a dirt scooter than you could on a regular scooter in a park or street.
Absolutely,
or maybe parking.
I feel like the ultimate goal to scootering is if we can somehow bring sports betting into scootering. And I feel like that's tough right now because scooter contests are somebody's opinion. That's the person who wins. It all comes down to somebody's opinion.
Betting would just corrupt the shit out of it.
But I'm thinking if there was scooter races, then betting could actually work because it wouldn't be there. You couldn't corrupt it. You know what I mean? It's like everyone clearly knows once the first person passes the finish line, that's the winner. And I feel like that's how it could work. I don't think it could work right now because, like you said, it would get too corrupted. But like, or even not even corrupted. It regardless of what would happen, there would always be somebody with an issue with it.
Would you compete in dirt scooter league?
Oh, absolutely. That'd be fun. I feel like there's been 2 scooter races I've competed in. There's been the one on Skatercross a while ago. They had a Skatercross race at Claremont.
How did that go?
It was pretty cool, actually. I feel like
that's tight.
Yeah, no, it was definitely just to pay homage to the reason the Skatercross course was even made, like, 'cause the whole thing was Skatercross. So they of course they want to do a scooter cross, and just to see how it was. But then the second time I did a scooter race was actually at Worlds
in Barcelona.
In Barcelona, they set up a downhill course, which was basically the longboard course, but they just added some jumps to it. But I've always imagined like some sort of scooter race. Something that Clayton and I talk about quite a bit is creating like a downhill jam that basically be a different format of competition. And basically the inspiration came from snowboarding, because there's a certain snowboard contest where they have, I would say, smaller, more rail technical features at the top. And then once you finish those, then it goes into the bigger jumps. And for a spectator, because it's very important the spectators can like grasp what's going on. I feel like for a spectator, you can see who's doing well by who's finishing the course. And I feel like in a normal skate park, everyone, like, you have to watch the entirety of the run. There's not like a start and a finish.
Yeah.
So you'd have to compare that to other runs. And if somebody, like, hypothetically starts their run, falls, gets up, and manages to pick it up all the way through, it still looks like they never really fell. But if you had a course where it was like like in order to place, you have to finish the finish line. It would really kind of shuffle out all the people that aren't going to do like that well initially. But it would also take away time limits. It doesn't matter how long you take on the course. It just matters when you cross this line, it starts. When you cross this line, it ends. Like, and it's like, what are you doing in the middle? And I feel like it would also, even though it would still be somebody's opinion who wins, I feel like it would be less opinionated because, for example, when Shaun White got the perfect score in Winter X Games, he did it on the downhill snowboard halfpipe, and it was very clear to the entire audience that he won because his run was just incredible. I imagine if snowboarding didn't have to work with gravity as the way it does, and he was in like a course that wasn't a start finish sort of course, it wouldn't be as defined. But since he had a start and a finish, it was very clear that he stood out and that he did what other people couldn't do. And it also really showed creativity. I feel like it shows how people would choose their line from start to finish.
Yep.
And I feel like what we're planning on doing with that is creating a course that kind of starts off more technical and then goes to box jumps. But the course is on a downhill, so you don't really have to push. And I think it would be just like a really cool event for the riders because it would be unique, but also it'd be a really cool for the spectators because they would be able to grasp it a little bit easier. Maybe not. I mean, and I'm saying that in regards to people who aren't avid scooter followers like myself or you. You know, it's
like a downhill ski race. Like you got the grinds here,
speed and style.
Yeah,
and I feel like that might be the ultimate format to compete with scooters.
See, there's lots of different things you can do with the downhill stuff like that. It's cool.
But because I feel like scooters, like, although our passion is trick scooters, that's just a small fraction of scootering. Like, scootering is massive.
Yep.
And it's like you have to be able to pull yourself away from trick scooters and see the entirety of scootering with electric scooters, with regular scooters, with fold-up scooters. Like, there's so many paths. And I feel like because scootering is such a great transportation vehicle, I feel like what really needs to be tested in that competition is how well it will transport you from point A to point B. And I feel like that's how it would really apply itself into those style-based contests. Unfortunately, we haven't had that yet, but fortunately, we have a lot of time, and I think it would be a cool opportunity.
Let's do it. Shoot, let's make it happen.
So
let's go.
Let's do it.
It's funny is that Barcelona was awesome because I was there and actually was a sponsor. So Branson won and I actually gave him the check. And my only rider in there was Wyatt.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, come on, Wyatt. And he went against Cam, and Cam smoked his.
Cam's so fast.
He jumped the whole first box, completely jumped it. Wyatt went up it, got a little bit of air. Cam literally the whole thing. I was like, first one. I was like, oh, he's done. But Cam was crushing it. And I think Branson beat Dylan.
Yeah.
That was cool. Branson had the big old wheels, you know. It's like
back when the 12 standard was kind of rare.
Yeah. That's how he got it. Branson's just badass too. Love that guy.
Facts.
I wish you guys would have went to Pro Scooter Series with us. I know he was hurt. Noah jacked him up at Esco. My fault, man. I felt bad for that still.
Hell, bro.
Get out of the way. But Pro Scooter Series was cool going down to Australia with those guys, man. I hope that comes back.
Do you enjoy going on those trips like that? Like, do you enjoy being a part of the energy?
That was cool because I was like a vagabond salesperson. So we went there with Wyatt, Tristan, and Cam. And I was like, Cam met us coming from LA, and then Wyatt and Tristan, we all had our individual bags. I was like, all right, dude, let's load these things up with as much parts as we can possible. So we had grips and tie bars, and we had everything in there. And I'm going to sell it all. I did. So Mick from Public Mayhem, awesome dude, man. I met him after a Dodger game where I took Robbie to. We went to a World Series. After that, we go to Venice Beach, and I take Robbie there, and there's Mick and Lockie and his son. And we give him those little cinch bags. I'm like, hey, give him that bag. And I was like, he was the only scooter rider in there, and he was young too, same age as Robbie. And I'm like, what's your address to your hotel? I'll send you some shirts. So I sent him a bunch of Hang 5 Gear shirts, stickers, just everything I could. And we kept in touch. So he was building a skate park during that time, Public Mayhem. So it was cool selling that and networking, still keeping that contact that we met face-to-face in Los Angeles to a couple years later, going to his actual skate park, and him and his wife and his kids. It was cool, man. And the Cam and Branson and Wyatt and Tristan, that was super cool. But I sold to Empire. Hey, big shout out to Maddie too, man. By the way, that is badass what he's doing out there with his skate park, man. I know what it takes, and that dude's a good dude, man. But networking with all those riders too that I never met and got to know them a lot better, and then us all hanging out at the Crown, which was cool.
Yeah,
the Crown is the what is it?
The hotel,
the casino.
Yeah, the casino.
Yeah, so that's fun. Took all those guys out. It was great.
That's like my favorite aspect of scootering is just seeing all my friends and all my boys like just on these trips in these weird places. Cause like where else are you gonna get like a cool friend, like a consistent friend group that you travel around the world with? Like where else are you gonna find that? Like
I love that. Like I think it was on the last trip you guys went to where to go? Utah.
Yeah.
So at the last minute I'm like, hey Tristan, I'll send Tristan and take CJ. Cause like you said that, I was with CJ's a pro, man. CJ's killing it too, man. He's riding today, man. I was like, come on, CJ, let's go. Watch out. I think he's in kick butt this year, man.
Send CJ to the Chicago Tree Jam.
That's in a couple weeks. I'll be gone too, man. So
I guess you need help with the shop.
Yeah, that's another problem is because Wyatt and Maddie are gonna be gone. I'm gonna be gone. So it's like a little short staff for a little bit. We'll be good though. I'll get him on the next one.
True.
I'll make sure he gets to Escondido though.
He needs to be there for sure. For sure. Well, hey Rob, I'm so happy you came on this podcast today. I feel like we talked about some pretty solid things. I feel like the Arizona scooter scene is going to continue to grow, and I feel like you possessing the hub of it, the physical place where people can go in and be surrounded by scooter culture, I feel like you play such a vital role. And I just want to say thank you for the things you do in scootering and the jobs you provide to young people who are just trying to follow their passions, and the leadership you bring to them. I feel like that's something that is really helping out their lives. And whether you hear a big thank you, you definitely will later in your life for impacting so many young people.
Wow, thank you, man. And thank you, man. And Clayton, you guys have helped me out whenever I need anything, someone lean on, man. You guys have always been there, man, all the time. So I really, really appreciate it. And for all you Arizona kids, man, I love all you guys. If I'm hard on you, it doesn't mean I don't like you, man. It means I care about you. So this is a big difference. And some of the kids like don't see that. Like, oh, you don't like me. No, dude, I care about you. But you got to act right. You got to be, I tell Robbie every day, be respectful and polite, you know, and I got to tell myself that as well, too. And I got to show respect for those kids as well, too. You know, respect's earned. And my wife and I were talking about that last week. And, you know, I love my family and I love all you guys. And the guys that ride for me as well are like extended family as mine, you know, as well as everyone is. And I just want to do my part and help encourage other kids progress in the sport. You know, I love seeing local kids. You know, I like seeing kids from all over the world progress and stuff. And I want to do my part and I really want to help. And I think I am. And I think there's a lot more I can do, though. And there's a lot more I'm going to do. I promise you that.
See, that's the best thing is that you see where you're going to keep going up from here. And the other thing, too, I just want everyone on this podcast to realize is just you have so much passion for scootering and you really genuinely love it. And I'm stoked to see where your path goes and yeah. But hey, Rob, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Hey, thank you guys, man. One love, much love, man. That's all I got to say.
All right, guys. Peace out.